let's start with Conor Benn. Conor Benn making his debut under Zuffa Boxing. He signed for what? $15 million, whatever, a couple months ago, going behind...
a lot of money.
A lot of money, man. You know what I mean? He went behind, you know, stabbed Eddie Hearn in the back. A lot of people calling him a traitor. I would say now, Conor Benn's probably the most hated boxer in Britain right now. Like, he's not really liked, you know what I mean? People see him as a traitor. Now, when he first signed that deal with Zuffa Boxing, I'm going to get your take on this as well, Bright, but when Conor first signed that deal with Zuffa Boxing, for $15 million, I was thinking, okay, here we go. Finally, Conor's going to start facing some tough opposition. And then I hear Regis Prograis. I'm like, what? The guy's like 37. He's had a lot of wars. He's at the end of his career. You know what I mean? He's on a decline. $15 million to fight Regis Prograis at a catch weight, 150 pounds. I was like, yo, Conor Benn is trying to steal a living out here, man. Like, I don't understand this stardom, that he's found when he hasn't achieved shit. He hasn't achieved nothing, Conor Benn. And listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. I'm just keeping it real. You know, this biggest fight against Chris Eubank Jr. Do you know what I mean? There was a rehydration clause in there. Eubank Jr. in the second fight in the rematch. Listen, we know he was off it. He was definitely sick.
The same.
He wasn't the same. He was washed. He was drained. He was done. That's Conor Benn's biggest win. Now they're selling him as this so-called big superstar in the UK, in boxing, whatever, Big superstar that's scared to like do a main event, his own card. He has to be on the undercard, the co-main event of a Tyson Fury card. Like, Conor Benn, I'm going to ask you this, Brad. Is he stealing a living, bro? Because I'm sorry, man. This guy, I don't rate him at all, man. Not yet. He hasn't done shit.
Look, I think with Conor Benn, there's many different ways to look at this, right?
Yeah.
People can talk about his relationship with Eddie Hearn and the fact that he wasn't signed to Matchroom on paper, right? And that is Matchroom's fault for not signing Conor Benn. And then he left and there was a whole bunch of issues with it. But when you look at it, right, this is Zuffa Boxing's fault. Like, they put their trust in a guy that has headlined with Eubank Jr. But let's be honest, right? The only reason why the Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight sold out was because of Eubank Jr. and his father, Eubank Sr. and the whole thing that they did around the fight. That is what sold the fight. It wasn't because Conor Benn was this massive star in the UK and everybody wanted to see Conor Benn. In fact, people wanted to see Eubank Jr., beat Conor Benn. Yeah. That's why a lot of people tuned in, right? And I think Conor Benn has gone through the ways in boxing where, he's, for example, right, and I'll give an example. Before the Eubank Jr. fight, he was seen as public enemy because he had failed a drugs test and it was disgusting and people just did not want to accept that. And then Eddie Hearn, sort of covered that up, sold Conor Benn to be this guy that has never failed any drugs test and he was a saint, this and that. And then they overcame that. Yeah. And then, the Eubank Jr. fight happened and Conor Benn got a bit of notoriety. So I think some people started to like him. And then he won the Eubank Jr. second fight, which people thought, okay, let's give him a bit of a chance. And then he goes and do this to Eddie Hearn where he doesn't call Eddie Hearn about this contract with Zuffa Boxing. He signs, it blows up, it becomes a big thing. And then now we're hearing that he's denying that Eddie Hearn loaned him money for his legal fees, money to buy a Rolls Royce. All these things are coming up. And now Conor Benn, when he received a bit of grace from the British boxing public, all of a sudden, that is gone now. Now, all of a sudden, he's public enemy number one because of the situation with Eddie Hearn. So Conor Benn is in this situation where, you could say that he's still in living because to fight Regis Prograis for 50 million, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's unheard of. This is money that people get for fighting big names. And he's getting it to fight a guy that is 37 years old, let's be honest. His best days are behind him. He's not the same. And this is what we're going to get on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Makhmudov.
And also, Bright, sorry, not to cut you off, Bright, sorry. Regis Prograis has operated at 140 pounds. So he's coming up in weight. And the irony in this is, the irony in all this, Conor Benn didn't want Regis Prograis to accept Conor Benn did not want to accept a rehydration clause. How ironic. Yeah, he made Chris Eubank Jr. have a rehydration clause in a contract, but he wouldn't do it with Regis Prograis. Like this, can you see like the hypocrisy, the double standards in Conor Benn? This is why people don't like him, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and I understand why people don't like him because there's so much going on that he doesn't give himself the opportunity for people to see to like him, right? He keeps doing these things where it puts people off of him, and that's what we're seeing. But at the same time, you look at Zuffa Boxing and you go, how could you? What have you seen in Conor Benn? He's not sold out any big stadiums in the UK. He's not, Eubank
like by himself. Yeah, by himself. He needs someone to carry him. Fight.
Yeah. So what have you seen in this guy to give him 50 million just to fight Regis Prograis? So I think Zuffa Boxing are going to make a loss on that. I think Conor Benn has gained an advantage. He's made money, but I think Zuffa Boxing have made the biggest mistake
apparently
of their boxing career.
And also, Bright, apparently, this $15 million is a one-fight deal.
Yeah.
That doesn't make no sense. I think there's something. There's no way Zuffa Boxing will invest $50 million on Conor Benn
just for one
fight. And that one fight is against Regis Prograis on the undercard of a Tyson Fury fight. Like it doesn't make no sense because you've made a loss, total loss.
It begs the question. If Conor Benn was to fight Ryan Garcia or Shakur Stevenson, how much are they going to pay him? 50 million?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Because those guys are big names. Those guys are big names, massive names on Regis Prograis. And if they fought in the US, that's going to be a big fight. If they fight in the UK, it's going to be a decent fight, right? So if they're paying him 50 million to fight Regis Prograis, how much are they going to pay him to fight, those guys that I've just mentioned? So look, yes, he's stealing a living. You asked that question. The answer is he is stealing a living. But at the same time, Zuffa Boxing, they've made a mistake and they're going to make a loss on this. And Conor Benn, the truth is, let's be honest, the truth is he has to look good in this fight. Conor Benn cannot get in there and fight his way to a decision, boring, where he's going life and death with Regis Prograis. And that is very possible because let's be honest, Regis Prograis, although he's old and he's 37, in his heyday, he was a good fighter.
Yeah,
we saw him fight against some of the best, right? In and around his weight division. And he's a southpaw. And that is always tricky for orthodox fighters to deal with. And he's crafty and he knows what he's doing. So Regis Prograis can actually, put a dent in Conor Benn's whole future dream of what he wants to become. Regis Prograis can do something to it. So Conor Benn, he has to win this fight. He has to. There's no way that he can go in there and fiddle his way around this and get props. If he goes in there, he does a bad job, people will say, how do you pay this guy 50 million just to go and do that? He has to get in there. He has to get the stoppage. He has to look good doing it. And he has to stop Regis Prograis in a devastating fashion for people to go, okay, we know exactly why he was paid 50 million for this fight.
Yeah, because, like I agree with what you're saying. Like, this fight for Conor Benn is more than just about the result. It's going to be also about the performance, like how he looks in the ring, when he's fighting Regis Prograis. You know what I mean? If he, like you said, if he gets a boring unanimous decision victory, or he even struggles, or he gets rocked by Regis Prograis, mate, you can forget about any big fights, man. Do you know what I mean? Because Conor Benn is 29 years old. He's never won an area title of any level, like no titles. Area title, British level, European level, Commonwealth, nothing. 29 years of age, got big mouth, talks a lot as if he's been undisputed champion, like Terence Bud Crawford. He's never done any of that. I'm not hating on him or anything like that, but listen, if it wasn't for his dad's name, this guy would be like a second fiddle fighter, a C level at best type of fighter. Do you know what I mean? So he's been
Conor Benn is very European fortunate. Level at best.
That's what I'm saying.
He's European level at best.
Do you know what I mean?
It.
Like
he's
very fortunate. He's a very fortunate guy. Yeah. Listen, all the best to him, man. All the best. Listen, he got the deal. Zuffa Boxing decided to pay him $15 million. I think The only reason why Dana White paid Conor Benn the 50 million is to piss off Eddie Hearn. I think Dana White, he wanted to get one over Eddie Hearn, and he thought, you know, I'll do you over. I'll take one of your fighters. You know what I mean? Here's 50 million, come over to me.